Welcome, everyone, to The Pulse. I'm Bill Anderson. Happy to be back again. And today we've got I say this every week, we've got a special show that I'm happy to bring to you. Somebody I've known for several years as she was breaking into the music industry. She's from New Jersey. She is a singer, a songwriter, now award-winning, has overcome several challenges, and she goes by Jax. She joins us on The Pulse. I normally will go into the whole, let's start from the beginning, go through backgrounds and all that kind of stuff. But now I feel like I should start with congratulations. You're fresh off of winning an award from iHeart Music.
Thank you. This is the coolest morning ever. I woke up at 5 a.m. screaming and pacing around the house.
But walk us through that. What's that like? Because you're up against people who are equally big deal.
I'm a big fan of everybody who was nominated on this category. And same with Social Stars. I picked a really good bunch of kids. So it's been really cool. It's an honor. It's very, very cool.
So TikTok Songwriter of the Year, right?
Yep.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I was just on your TikTok page, an 8.5 million followers. I know, right? You laugh about that. What's that even like to know that you've gotten to that point?
First of all, it's I feel like I'm in just songwriter heaven, because I think the biggest challenge as a songwriter, you write so many songs. I maybe at a certain point I was writing 10 to 20 songs a week, not just for myself, but for other artists behind the scenes, like a ghostwriter, and with no kind of falling on deaf ears. And TikTok is so cool in that you can be in any place in the world, in any room with zero recognition. And then all of a sudden, from your bedroom, something can just blow up overnight. So it was really actually overwhelming and hard to process, but it made me very excited that I get to do what I love for a living, and people are actually watching now. So it's a dream come true, really.
I was reading about you performing at the Stone Pony in Jersey at 11 years old. Is it cool to see now that you can do it like this? You can kind of control your own ability to reach out directly to people.
Yes, my awkward self with braces at the Stone Pony, just singing Joan Jett covers back in Jersey was the start of all things rock and roll for me, and how much I love music. But I think the coolest thing is that I'm always panicking. I think anyone who's a musician or songwriter, and then people in general, you kind of just know the music industry is so cutthroat, and it's so impossible, especially with the internet, to just break through the noise. So there's this comfort feeling that finally I can just do what I love, write what I love, be myself in my sweatpants, and just do it for a living and get to have fun every day.
Is it hard though when you start at 11 and you're kind of pushing through it, and you're writing songs at 17 at different periods of time where you're kind of going through young people's stuff? Is it hard to be pushing into the spotlight at that age?
It's a little bit of both. The young people stuff is what makes for a really good, dramatic, emotional songwriting phase. And that's actually, I just think my teenage hormones were what brought me to songwriting, probably just these dramatic breakups and everything like that, right. Where everything is heightened as a kid. But yeah, no, for sure. I think that for the people around me that were kind of pretty in a routine process, my family, my friends, people in our town, it was go to college, find a skill set, do your thing, not just kind of fingers crossed, I'm just going to work really hard and see what happens. And hopefully I have a job one day and I get to do this. But yeah, it's a lot of pressure, I think, for people that aren't in the grind of it and understand, because I think when you, even in any kind of freelancing job, any kind of creative job, it's the only thing you have to depend on is how hard you work and how often you do it and how much you practice and hone in on your craft and stuff. So if you don't do it, you're kind of just there's this massive world of competition and amazing talent and whatever it is that you kind of have to break through. So a lot of pressure, but good drama, good intensity. I like the pressure. So
a lot of people will say, oh, just this overnight sensation, she came out of nowhere, but it's been 10 years to become an overnight sensation. Were you ever discouraged? Because it didn't, you had kind of some ups and downs, and people knew your name and there were some experiences, but it didn't initially skyrocket to fame. Ever get discouraged as you were going through that?
Yeah. Oh my God. Still right now in life, every day. It's just you get in your head all the time, and Yeah, no, it's funny. Like the biggest overnight thing that the feeling that I've gotten, because obviously I've been working at it for a long time, but I think that my biggest mistake for such a long time was, you know, letting kind of industry folks and people whisper in my ear and like what I was telling me what I was supposed to be all the time. Like it was like, oh, you got to be more mysterious, you gotta be sexier, you gotta like show more skin, you know, right, like your songs are too like tongue-in-cheek, you know, and like I like, you know, I like poetry and puzzles and stuff like that, so like they're like, no, none of that, dumber. And finally I was like, the pandemic brought me to a place where I could be myself, and it happened overnight, just I think from pure authenticity, like. And that was the coolest feeling. I was like, finally, I'm just not going to listen to any of that and do what I always wanted to do and sing the way I want to sing and write the way I want to write and be as like nerdy and dad-like as I want to be and how I am to my friends. And then that's what feels the most overnight to me. I think when you go so many years being something you're not, or trying too hard to like copy something, you know, it's just like, it's exhausting.
It does feel like the real you, the authentic you, you know, the person who was fine sitting in the back room, you know, with dogs barking and just singing along. That resonated with people. Like when you got to that person is when it kind of took off.
Thank you. That's it. I feel very much 100% me right now. And I can't stop smiling. This is very, very cool.
I don't want to be the downer person, but I do want to take a step back because you're kind of on that path to success and you're writing songs and what have you. And then it was really widely publicized that you got sick. You know, you got diagnosed with thyroid cancer.
They took my thyroid out.
Yeah.
They took it out, and then it came back again in my lymph nodes, which was scary. At the end of the day, it was like such a good wake-up call for me as a young person. When you're 20 and 21, you're just not really thinking about your body as a temple and stuff like that. So I took a deep breath and I actually used the time in recovery and to get into remission with that by not writing songs for me, just writing songs for everyone else behind the scenes and not telling anyone. I kind of just like crawled into a little hole, was a little depressed for a second and freaked out. So was my family. And then what got me through it was just writing and keeping my mind occupied.
But while you're going through that, the singer part of it, you at least thought was in jeopardy.
Oh yeah, all the time. I still do in life. I'm very concerned. So the thyroid is normally not mine because it's gone, but normally it's right under the vocal cords. So the vocal cords rest here, and then like literally within like millimeters, it's the vocal cords. And I've seen like surgeries go terribly wrong where one little thing and you're like, voice is gone forever. It's like a whole thing. So it was everything I ever worked for right here all at once.
Did it prioritize things for you? Did it make you understand? Like that was super important to you, but you focused on your songwriting, and I guess it kind of made, life a priority.
Had to be on bed rest. I was like relearning how to work the nerves in my face. Like you would just, since the surgery, I would just like go to brush my teeth and miss my mouth and that's the same with my voice. I had to relearn how to work all these like neck muscles and stuff like that. The minute the doctor was like, all right, you're good to start exercising, you're good to go, I was like, bucket list, let's go, let's do everything.
You come through that, you're recovered, you're back to doing what you want to do. The pandemic hits because it's kind of one thing after another. Did that drive you to focusing on the social media?
When the pandemic hit, everybody was out of the studio, not a single person. Maybe like sometimes you were writing songs on Zoom, but it was not paying the bills at all. So I was collecting unemployment, watching a lot of Tiger King, a lot of Love Island, and I was like, I have to do something. I had to put my music out there or some sort of music out there because what am I going to do? Like, what if this pandemic never ends? We thought it would last for 2 weeks, but now it's like 6 months in and you're freaking out. So I started like just putting things on TikTok and not really knowing how the app worked at all. Kind of like taking myself a little seriously too, like what I was talking about before, being like just too cool for school kind of thing. And then eventually I put out Stacy's Mom from Stacy's Mom's Perspective.
Stacy, why is your boyfriend being super weird?
So I put that out and literally went to bed with 1,000 views on it. And it like woke up with like 10 million views on the freaking song. And then I ended up saying to myself, like, okay, I'm not a comedian by any means. I don't know how this happened, but I'm gonna shoot my shot and like post an original that's been collecting dust from one of those studio sessions in Los Angeles and see if people listen to that too. And that was Ring Pop.
No wonder the neighbors are jealous. We don't cheat at Monopoly. Already won the lottery. Don't need no diamonds. You're my rock, and I'm okay with a ring pop.
And that was the moment I realized that like this is the coolest platform and stage and tool I could ever have asked for, and it just didn't stop.
I've gone through of them, the little girl you babysit, you know, helping her get back at bullies and all of that kind of stuff. Why do you think that kind of stuff resonated with people so much? Like to the point where you are getting more views and followers than, you know, you have more followers than Gwen Stefani.
There's a lot of unique things about this app, but mainly it's that I think in a time where everything, there's a lot of overstimulation. There's a lot of like flashing lights on Instagram and really hot models and like all the cool things that you aspire to be. But the thing about TikTok is like, we all got to live in the pandemic together from our living rooms and our bedrooms, and what the authentic DIY thing that we have going on, all of us at once. So I think the people on the app are craving just realness and like actually what I'm wearing, and like I didn't shower today, and like these are like, this is real life, you know?
Right. When so keeping it real goes wrong.
What's up? Camera can't smell, you guys. No, it's about, I think it's about just everybody kind of being on the same level and being superhuman on this app. So I think that was probably it. And I think the other thing is everybody really wanted to smile during a really pretty scary time. So,
so you have, I saw, I'd mentioned the little girl you babysit. I've seen you get back at exes who I can only imagine, you know, ex-boyfriends who didn't handle things well. I think the dramatic reading of ex-boyfriend. I'm sitting there watching that going, wow, like, you talk about regret. Now there's a million people, millions of people. Have any of those people reached back out to you and go, yo, you put me on million blast?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. Yeah, in a little bit.
Maybe.
It just sounded like the Uncut Gems girl.
Nice.
No, you know, it is like, I try not to like name names too hard unless I was like really hurt, and then I have to go full T-Swift. But yeah, no, I think everybody's on good terms now. I think those things are from ages ago. I feel bad for my current boyfriend because no matter how much I tell people, there's such a short attention span on the internet that it's like some people just watch like the first 5 seconds of a clip and they're like, how could your boyfriend do that to him? We hate him now. And he just gets these like crazy DMs thinking it's all him. And I'm like, no, this was an ex from like 5 years ago. Stop, leave him alone.
Right. It's like, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. You're doing the fun stuff. You're doing the get back at people stuff. You're doing the express yourself stuff. And then you get to Like My Father.
Need a man who's patient and kind, gets out of the car and holds the door. I wanna slow dance in the living room like we're 18 and sing your prom and go.
Tell me about that. Like how you got to that process and the impact that had, because it's had significant impact.
I mean, thank you for asking, because I have never been. It's hard. I write a lot of pop songs and stuff like that, and it's sometimes harder to connect to some than others. But for that song specifically, I was up for days straight when I wrote it, just out of pure excitement, because for me it was like a perfect balance of like, here's what I want to inspire the world with, like here's what I want people to kind of strive for in the happiness in a relationship, but I also want to tell my own individual story and share my own experience with what I grew up with and what my parents are, even if it might be different from somebody else's parents. And I was kind of nervous that like not everybody would connect in that way, because my parents are really unique. You've met them, they're grossly in love. And then as I got older, I was like, oh God, this is what I want. Like this is it, like to be in an adult relationship where the love just grows as you grow, and just the stupid stuff, like the dirty Post-it notes and like the faking Scrabble stuff and burning dinner and all the things that like kind of pop into my head when I think of my parents' goofy, grossly in love relationship. And when I wrote it, the first thing I wanted to do was obviously send it to my mom and dad. And I was like, wait, should I surprise them and like hold off on it and then actually try to get their reaction to it on TikTok, like the mean little daughter I am? And I did, and it was pretty beautiful. And then the next day, I was like, oh yeah, by the way, like I was going back and forth with all the like corporate people, and they really wanted to hire some actors for this music video to play my parents, but I didn't feel like that would do the video or the song justice. So you guys are starring in it. Pack your bags. We're going to Georgia.
Your father was, big time, firefighter. Went out there when 9/11 hit and was one of the people who responded to that. And both he and your mom were in tears when you played this song for them. That had to feel good, right? To see that like this big tough hero kind of responding to that.
The big tough hero is actually the most emotional one, I think. Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone. Good thing this isn't on TV or anything. They've always been very expressive and loud and Italian and very Brooklyn family. So it was a cool experience to see them like just connect with the song the way I did. I cried when I wrote it. I had no idea the response that the song was going to get. I love the idea of being kind of a hopeless romantic and young girls being a hopeless romantic and just like loving their dad and the way their dad treats their mom and stuff like that. And it's very, very, very cool.
I saw you performing with Flo Rida.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. I've seen the various people in your post, and you're kind of doing all of these celeb collabs. Gwen Stefani, as I said, responds to your post. And each time this happened, the Flo Rida performance, you seemed legitimately just like, oh my God, like just happy to be doing that performance.
And the genuine reality of it is I am a fangirl, and the reason I get these collaborations is because I literally just shoot my shot and I comment on people's videos and I send them a gross amount of messages and DMs and say, hey, I love you. I know this is a long shot, but do you want to sing a song together? And then sometimes, I mean, that was great. Gwen Stefani, I didn't know what was happening. Someone said that to me, but like Flo Rida, we were just like, hey, we're gonna play the same show. You wanna, and then boom. And the craziest thing about that show, sorry, I'm going on a rant here, but the craziest thing about that show was that we were in the middle of a pretty gnarly hurricane, and it was on Jones Beach, which is like, for those of you who don't know, it's like a venue on the water. So basically like hurricane flood zone 911, full of first responders that are panicking, by the way, because it was for a first responder event for 9/11. Okay. So you have all these like firefighters being like, yeah, just like electrical warning sirens. And the second I hop on with Flo Rida, this is my moment. I go, hey, Juliet, and then boom, like evacuate the front row. Water starts pouring up to everyone's like chest. Like it was my dressing room. I had to throw everything out. Was underwater.
All right, but it's a good story, and you still got to perform with Flo Rida, and it still makes for a good video.
We got through the song.
So, what's your advice for young people who are watching, aspiring songwriters, the little girls who are watching all of this? What's your words for them?
Okay. For little girls specifically, on one end, 100% do you. Tune it out, 100% be you. That was my mistake for my whole life, because I listened to all these things like standards of what girls should be and how they should look, how they should sound and think and stuff like that. Be a boss, just do it, 100% be you. Tune it out, tunnel vision. And then just generally speaking, I think it's important to practice really, really hard and hone in on one craft. I think like the laser focus on the one thing that you truly love, you'd be unstoppable if you just keep practicing.
Thanks again, guys, for watching. Had some fun spending time with Jax. Known her since she was high school. And she continues to grow, has overcome challenges, and remains an inspiration, as well as being TikTok famous. So thank you so much for watching. Remember, you can hear the entire unedited interview on podcast, all places that podcasts are available. And we will see you next week on The Pulse.